Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to a new session of Bisagi's Process Professor. Thank you so much for being here today with us. We have prepared, or I have prepared a whole new session for you today about a really interesting topic that we have been working and we have been handling in the latest version of Bizagi. My name is Kevin Guerrero. If this is the first time that you are connecting to a Bizagi Process Professor session, I want to thank you. Thank you to taking the time, the space, and the interest of actually spend this morning or afternoon with me. Today, we will be talking about one really important topic, that is how we can empower your applications, the applications that actually you create with our platform, using one of our latest features, that is actually the Bizagi Apps, and how you can actually make them better using all the concepts and all the benefits that we got from something as important as it is business intelligence, right? If this is the first time that actually you are connecting into a Bizagi Process Professor session, so let me explain you really quickly how this program works, what is the main objective, and what you can expect from each of these sessions that we're working. So first of all, this is already the third year that we have been running this Process Professor session. We started in 2021, and our main objective is to actually have a really relaxed and, let's say, chill space for our partners, for our clients, for our consultants, our employees, clients, and in general, anyone that is interested to learn or to hear a little bit about new trends in the market, or new functionalities in the platform, or the new versions of Bizagi, or even some capabilities or some features that has been there in the platform for a while, but maybe you didn't know that exists and that you can take a full advantage on how they work, right? We're running Bisagi's Process Professor once a month, so it will be just 1 hour of your time per month. This year, 2023, we're running Process Professor every third Wednesday of the month. So every third Wednesday, we will be here in the same place, in the same channels, with all the information that we have. And every session of Bisagi's Process Professor try to follow this structure and this schema. So we will have one main topic. Today, it will be everything about how to make your apps better, even with business intelligence, right? We will be discussing of why the topic is important, how you can use it, and maybe a more focus into the theoretical part of that, right? What are the important, what are the concepts, everything that you need to understand that. Then we are going to move to what it will be all the information in terms of a live demonstration of the product. That it means we want to show you exactly how those concepts that we review in the first part of the session actually take place, and you can run them directly into one of our products. In that live demonstration, it's possible that you see Bizagi Modeler, or that you see the Bizagi Studio, or Bizagi Apps, or the App Designer, or the Experience Matrix. Any of the products will be displayed there just for you to understand how we embed and how we add those concepts directly into our product, right? And finally, we're going to get always one last session, one last part, that it will be questions and answers over that part. One of the most important things about that part, or that last section, is that you can do any question that you got about the product. It doesn't have to be something related with the topic that we are working or that we're talking in today's session. It can be about anything that you want, and that's a great advantage that you have here. Okay, so that's the way on how the program works. If this is the first time, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Just for you to know, we have implemented a couple months ago one option in the registration of Bisagi's Process Professor, and is that you can go to our website, look for Bisagi's Process Professor, and when you register for a session of the Bisagi's Process Professor, there is a new checkbox that allows you to subscribe to all the sessions of Bisagi's Process Professor. The way on how that it will work is that we will be able to actually register yourself automatically to all the upcoming sessions. 1 week before the session, you will get an email that it will tell you what is the next topic that we will be covering. And also 1 week before, you will get your formal invitation with the link that you have to access to enter our sessions. If you want to subscribe to Bisagi's Process Professor, you can do it at any time. Just be sure that you check that box. And in that way, if for any reason you get busy and you forgot to register for one of the sessions, we will do that one for you. And we will be sure that you will be with us at any time. Okay? So what are we going to cover today? What is going to be that main topic that we have here? And we will be covering, and we will be talking specifically something really important for us, that is all the topics related with business intelligence, right? We will start talking about why actually business intelligence is so important within organizations, how actually organizations are taking full advantage of business intelligence, what are the main benefits that we can get if we know how to do actually proper business intelligence. And then we will just jump into more details into how in Visagi, in our platform, we have added that concept into the new version with some of the new capabilities to allow to combine two of the best things that we had. The way on how we create our modern applications that has actually, or that are powered by processes. It means processes are still the backbone of all the applications that we work, and is where we have been doing our best job for many, many years. But at the same time, we now combine that possibility to add really, really important and insightful report and dashboards that allow you to understand how your business is operating, to get a real view of business intelligence, and to actually take decisions based on the data that you are seeing right now. Then we will see how to configure and how, or what are the steps that actually you have to follow if you want to configure or set up those business intelligence in your apps. And finally, we will do a general demo that will allow you to understand in detail and with an example how all of that is going to work. So let's start this session with the basics. We will start from basic concepts, and then we will just go and continue moving forward to understand a little bit more what we got there. And probably the best starting point for us is to understand what's the concept of business intelligence. Probably a lot of you already know and understand how this works. Probably in your organizations, this is already part of the strategy of the company, is a priority for all the organization, and probably you are already in programs to actually manage and control and create business intelligence in your organization. But in other organizations, probably this is not yet so important, but it should be soon, right? So we start with the basic and most simple definition that we can have. We can say that business intelligence has different elements and different components that are really important for us to understand in detail, because this is going to give us then a better perspective and a general view on how actually Bizagi is combining this with the benefits that we're getting from here. And what we say is that at the end, business intelligence comprises these strategies. That's the first thing. Most of the time, and if we want to be successful in the business intelligence within our organization, this should not be just some initiative from one area within the organization. It should be, most of the time, a general and a global company strategy. The company, the organization already understood that having or getting information from the way on how the organization is operating is important, and then they define that strategy. That's the first component. The second one is technology. Okay, so now that we define that one of the most important things for us is to actually do business intelligence, then what is the technology that we will be using? How we can manage, control, and manipulate data that we have been getting from different customers, from different channels, from different places, and analyze that data using a technology to get the most of that information that we have, right? So it's business intelligence comprises strategies and technologies that are used by enterprises for the data analysis and management of business information. So how we can do and manage and control all that information and all the data that we have using a particular technology, right? Then if we just go and jump really quickly to something that Forbes was doing actually during this year, and it's like why actually business intelligence is so important for a business development. Forbes performed like an analysis and was doing that at the end. The idea with business intelligence is that you are able as an organization to actually build a foundation that allows you to have first clear metrics. One of the things that Forbes identified at this point is most organizations wants to have in place actually business intelligence, but some of them doesn't even know how to control or how to define if actually the business intelligence they are working is successful or not. So what they say is that we need to have clear metrics that allow us to measure directly how we are doing and how our operation is doing. A number of complaints that we're getting, number of new credit cards generated, number of requests that we are maybe failing to have a good score in the final qualifications. So metrics that allow us really, really good to understand and to know what we're doing and if we're doing good or not, right? And then it's we're going to have a foundation of metrics, yes, but also we want to have a foundation of data driving decisions. That is one of the most important things that we want to have when we're talking about the business intelligence, how we can actually get into the organization that made data driving decisions, not only because I have a feeling or because I believe that this is going to work or because it's what I think that it should work for my organization, but it's because it's based on data, right? Data that is going to help at the end a company to understand the past trends, what had happened in the last couple of weeks, months, years, how my organization has reacted to the changes in the market, and begin to forecast actually the future. So how I use all this data to understand better what's coming and for us to react even better to what's coming, to be prepared, to be ready, to not be so reactive and maybe be more proactive. How I can start taking changes or doing changes in my organization before that actually something happens with them. And during this year, I have been, attending some event and hearing some trends and what is happening in the market, what's happening with the organizations, what are the strategies, what is everything that is happening in the markets, right? And I will say that this year, at least 2023, has two big topics, huge, that in every single event, in every single speaker session that you attend or that you go are in place. One is definitely artificial intelligence, right? Everyone is talking about how they are doing now homeworks from their kids with ChatGPT. And that's something that we will be working in Bizagi also soon. I will talk to that for you, that I promise soon. But the second one is that, and I promise, I have heard this not only for just one person, but for multiple ones in multiple regions, in multiple events. And is everyone saying that actually data is the new oil? The amount of data that organizations, that people, or in general, that as humanity we are generating every single day is huge. And that's okay, and that's fine. But if we are not able to take advantage of that data that is being generated, then that it will be a lot of information stored in multiple servers that is not giving me any additional advantage or is not giving me any competitive, let's say, advantage with the market. So what we need to be, or what one of the big reasons why business intelligence today is so important, is that we need to transform and we need to convert in some way that data that is being generated into money, into benefits, into advantages, into competitor benefits from the market. How we can take that data that is being generated, that we are recopilating in multiple systems, channels, peoples, and is being stored in our system, but use that one with the business intelligence. That's the key part that we want to have it here. And there are so benefits, or why actually the business intelligence is so important for the organization. So what we got here is that actually we say that if you're able to use all the data that is being generated within organizations, analyze it, take it, valuable information from there, and at the same time combine with applications that allow you to take really quickly decisions based on that information that you got there, then you will be able to actually have these benefits. The first one, you are going to have the opportunity to actually understand much better or gain a deeper analysis into the customers and their needs, how the customers' behaviors are, what are the things that they are looking the most, which are the things that they are buying all the time, when they get a better score, when they got a service, and when they actually complain about one of those services. Gain deeper insight into customers and their needs is key and is one of the big benefits from the business intelligence. The second one is how, as an organization, I am going to be able to actually do data-driving decisions making. So how I can go and use all that information that we have been collecting from the period of time, analyze it, get trends, get behaviors, and then allow me to take quick decisions based on that data. If I know that my customers are having a lot of complaints about one credit card that I put in the market, then I need to take a decision. But that decision is not because I believe that something is bad, that I believe that we have improved it in that way, is because actually the information that I am getting and the data that I am collecting is actually showing me that. And I can create strategies to improve whatever it's incorrect, or even to empower the ones that I am doing great, right? The third one is definitely a strategic planning. How I am going to be able to actually improve the way on how I plan in my organization. And when I am talking about planning strategic planning in every area of the organization. How I can plan better my resources, right? My budgets, the number of people that will be working in a certain period of time. How I can balance that use of systems according to the peak of information or the peak of use of those systems based on maybe a global campaign, or maybe the trends of the organization, or the common and typical example, because when we're doing the account or the closing of a fiscal year, then all the accountable systems are in a high peak. So how I can actually plan that use in a different ways and different levels, right? And finally, and definitely one of the big important things about the business intelligence is how we can enhance efficiency, how we can be better, how we can use better our resources, how we can actually take everything that in the organization is available for us and use it to actually get better results, right? So all of this is a general context about business intelligence and how it works and why it's so important and basic definitions. So now I want to just move forward to how here in Bizagi we have used all those benefits, use all that information, use all those concepts, and add it directly into our Bizagi apps, right? Or maybe the ones that are in this session and it's the first time that you hear about Bizagi Apps, if you want to understand maybe in more details all the information about the apps and how this capability works, my advice is you can go and take a look to some previous videos that I have done here in Bizagi's Process Professor, where I explain everything about the new version, Bizagi Spring 2023, that has been released a couple months ago, that is available for our customers, for new customers. If you want to migrate to that version, is possible, and you can actually do it at any time when you want. You need to coordinate that with your customer success, but it's available for everyone. And in general words, one of the great advantage or one of the great new capabilities that has been introduced into Bizagi Spring 2023 is this concept and this capability called Bizagi Apps. And we summarize really quickly Bizagi Apps in this way. So we say that Bizagi Apps first is the easiest way to create robust enterprise apps with built-in governance. And we want to highlight these two important, characteristics about Bizagi Apps. It's the easiest way and it has built-in governance. And why? Because what we have achieved with Bizagi Apps is really important for the market and is really important for all our customers. Now they are able to create applications in a really easy way, following some steps that I will show you or I will talk to them later, right? And we will be able, right, to actually have intuitive creation of applications following, right, something that is called the experience matrix. The experience matrix is one capability within the product that allow me to see really easy, in a really quick way, and in a really intuitive way, how my application is going to work. Because it allows me to define the personas that are involved in an application, the objects that they have to see, and what they will be able to do over those objects, right? The second main superpower that we have been adding there is that it has built-in governance. And this is important because one of the things that we have seen when we're talking with big analysts around the world is that there are a lot of organizations around the world that are actually struggling right now with the governance. When you have a small, let's say, initiative to create applications in your organization, maybe you have one area with 5, 7, 10 developers working at the same time. And let's say that in some way it's something that you can manage and control easy. But if we are talking about big organizations that are having this creation of applications initiatives for thousands of employees or that actually are not even in the same location but are distributed in different countries with different language, governance is key for them. How we can create applications in an easy way, but at the same time that application has governance that allow me to decide who can see what in a really easy way, that we are sure that every single user that is accessing one of my application actually view only what they have to view and not any other thing, right? But now, if we combine this concept about Bizagi Apps, that is this new capability in Bizagi Spring 2023, with everything that we saw in the introduction about business intelligence, we're combining two really important powers for us. So now with Bizagi Apps, we're able to create really amazing applications with modern UIs, customizing every single detail for every single user that is accessing your applications, right? But at the same time, now we have one specific capability that allows us to add these business intelligence benefits. We can add, embed, and include reports directly into our applications. So we combine that insightful information that we got from how my operation is going or running directly in this moment, right? One thing. And at the same time, right, I am giving actions, what that user will be able to do, what I can take, what are the decisions based on data that I can take really quickly within the applications. And just for you to have a better idea on how this looks like and what we have done, I want to show you just three simple applications or three really important and beautiful applications that we have created for you to see the way on how this is going to look like and how we can combine those two elements. So from one side, this is actually one, let's say, a banking application. It has as a main objective to display or provide for the employees of the bank a 360 view, right, of everything that happens in the bank. So that's why if you go on and see the details over here, you will be able that they are able to see the different customers that they have, the different accounts, the different loans, the different cards, everything that is available for them, you will be able to see. Right into the application, that is, all of this is actually possible to build and create thanks to Bizagi Apps, right? We have really nice view to see what I have to do, what is my pending job, what are the new applications in this example that I have to review, and I can take some actions directly to them. But also at the same time, now we are adding these amazing and beautiful reports that allow me to understand in much more detail what's happening with my operation, right? What is that insightful information that we are getting? And here is where we are start seeing those benefits from business intelligence combined with actually our Bizagi Apps created. Here, really quickly, from a dashboard, I am able to see from all the applications that I have, which are the most popular products, right? And we can identify that definitely the most popular one is the motor loan. So I am able from here, using this data, this information, to take a decision based on the existing data that I have. And that existing data can allow me to say, hey, you know what? If the motor loan is the one that is doing the best, and this is a product that we're interested as an organization to promote more, let's do a new global campaign focus on motor loans, right? Or completely the opposite scenario. If I am seeing that the product or that the application that it has less, let's say, adoption in the market, right, that it only has the 4.7%, is the Prestige American Express credit card, then let's do something. Do we have maybe to decrease the interest rate? Do we have maybe to add an additional benefit for that credit card? Do we have to maybe, I don't know, do a partnership with one company that gives this credit card as part of their strategy? We can use all this information combined directly with the decision that we have here to take or to make data-based decisions, right? In the same way, there is another application that we have around here, and it is just an order management one. And following the same concept, take a look how important this one is going to be for us in terms of the reports of the information that we got. So now I am able to see how my orders are being or how I am doing with the orders, right? Is this something that we want to take an action of or not, right? Maybe, and that's why it's so important as an organization, we have to find clearly the metrics that allow me to know if I am doing a good job or not. And it is if I know that my metrics is that we must have, I'm going to just give you one example, less than 3% of orders returned, and we're getting a 3.45%, then what I can do? What are the strategies that I can take to actually decrease that number? Or let's do an analysis of why more than 10% of the orders are canceled. Or what I can do with my vendors. Do we want to actually take an action over one of the vendors that is the best one? Do we want to give Macy's a special promotion because it's the best vendor of the month? Or do we want to go with the good stuff April to actually do something with them because are the ones that are performing the worst, right? And finally, we have one additional application here that it is actually one that allow me to handle vendors, right? And give me insightful information also for this. But here I want to highlight two different things. From one side, it allowed me to see all the vendors organized by different categories. But on the other side, on this section, it allowed me to take quick decisions based on every single vendor that I am doing. So if with that business intelligence, with those reports, with that insightful information, I am able to identify that something is not working okay or well with one of those vendors, I can quickly go and take actions. Take something that I want to do. So if I know that one of the vendors is not performing as well as we want, maybe we can inactive, right? Or maybe we can send a direct communication to know and start digging in what is happening with them. So all of this is the way on how we combine Bizagi Apps, this powerful new capability that allow me to create custom and personalized experience for different personas and different users within the application, at the same time that we are adding for them these views of business intelligence that is powerful, that allow them to have these views, this dashboard, and that insightful information from the way on how the process is working. Okay? Now, how this works in Bizagi. So if we want to get, or if we want to actually achieve this kind of results and this kind of information, what we have to do. So in the definition of Bizagi Apps, I show you or I talk to you that actually we say that Bizagi Apps is the easiest way to create modern, robust enterprise apps, right? And when we're talking about the easiest way, is because we have to find some steps that allow you to create the applications in a simple way. Those steps is to create or compose your app using basically that experience matrix that I will show you when I am doing the demo, right? Simple, intuitive, quickly way to just go and jump directly into what it will be the application that you want to build. Then customize that application directly using our component called App Designer that allow you to create that personalized and customized experience for every single user that you want. At the same time, you can extend components that can be reused within multiple applications that you are creating. And finally, you can just publish the app. So if we want to now do or complete or set up our business intelligence in Bizagi, we also have some steps that will allow us to understand and see directly how we can create them. I am going to explain you those steps here from a theoretical point of view, and then in the demo, I'm going to show you how that is going to look like when we're working directly in the different tools. So if we want to configure or set up business intelligence within our applications, we need to follow these steps. The first one, we need to use one of the reporting or one of the business intelligence applications that is available in the market to create our reports. In this first version of Bizagi Apps, we have a native integration with Power BI, and with the upcoming versions, we will expand this capability with other business intelligence apps. For now, we will be using just Power BI as an example. And we need to go and use Power BI to create the reports that we want to have. In order to do that, we need to establish a connection to the data that we want to analyze, right? Then, once that we build those reports using Power BI, we will be able to set up or to establish the communication between Bizagi and those Power BI reports. We have a split, right? Let's say the configuration of those reports in two main sections in Bizagi. We have left one that we can say maybe is the more technical one. It's not that it's difficult. The only things that you need to understand, let's say maybe some technical concepts in order to complete that configuration. And that configuration is done directly in Bizagi Studio in our development environment, right? So we just go establish a connection with the reports that we are working with, the information that we're getting into that part, and we connect Bizagi with the reports that are available. Then we can use those added reports into our project directly to the persona in the experience matrix. Within the experience matrix, we actually have one option and one section that allow us directly to add which reports can be accessed by which persona. And that's part of the governance that we're adding into our product. We are sure that only certain personas with different profile, with the specific characteristics can see some reports within the application. And finally, we can complete the configuration of those reports directly in the place where we customize and personalize our applications, that is in the app design. The configuration here is, let's say, the last part of the configuration of the reports. So in the step 2, let's say it will be a little bit more technical because we need to add some additional elements there. Once that connection is done and is ready for us to use, in the number 4, we just need to select exactly the reports that we want and use some specific characteristics that will be available for the information that you got there. So 4 steps that you have to create, or 4 steps that you have to follow in order to go and set up the configurations for the reports that you want to use. So now let's see really quickly how it looks like in a real scenario with one practical example of the information or the elements that we're going to have it here, right? So what I am going to do really quickly in this moment is, let me just change my screens. And let me just show you how this is going to look like really quickly. There we go. So as a first step, right, what it will be required for us to do is we need to actually go to Power BI in this example and create the different reports that we want to use in the execution, right? That's the first thing that we want to do. Here I have an example that allow me to see how I have created one report with multiple pages for one of the applications that I have built, that is actually the vendor management application. Here in this report, I am able to see, or I am able to create whatever we need. And one of the great benefits of actually combining these business intelligence applications with Bizagi is that we can use all the capabilities and all the power of these business intelligence applications to create any view or any dashboard on a report that we want to show the valuable information that we want for her. So take a look that here we have a combination of multiple things available for us. We have cards, right? Cards that allow me to just count or summarize number of vendors, number of requests, number of updates. We have the option to set up things like these circle charts that we can actually have. Actually, it's called the donut chart. We're able to actually have different reports based on pie charts. We can use elements or important elements even as maps when we want to display information, for example, of different, in this case, different vendors organized by countries or even by cities. We can have the opportunity to actually have different bar charts in different organizations or categories. We can have simple line chart when it is required. And the greatest stuff is that once that you have established a connection with the information, with the system that you want, you will have on the left side all the tables that you have selected that you want to have available to create the reports, and then start playing around with whatever you want here. So let's suppose that here I want to just create something that allows me to see, let's say, I don't know, vendors organized by country. So it can be with a math one, or I can organize this one in charts and say that I want to see the vendor names, and I want to see the score that they have get it in the last parts. Take a look that I will have here one simple report that allow me to see which is the score of the different vendors that I have organized by the different countries where they are located. And I can organize and I can create as many elements or customize the reports in any way that we want. That it will be the first step. Once that you finish the configuration of all the reports or all the pages that you want, the next step is that you need to publish this report. What it will happen here is that the way on how Power BI works is that you can create your reports here in your desktop. And at the moment that you publish that report, it is going to be required that you select exactly where, right, in your, let's take this one out, where exactly in the cloud or in your Power BI subscription, let's say, you want to publish that report. This is going to allow you to save that report in something that Power BI calls a workspace. Where in the workspace do you want to actually publish that report? And this is going to be really important because this is something that later we will need in Bizagi when we want to set up that connection between Bizagi and the Power BI reports that I am doing. I already have this report published. So what it happened is that at the moment that I just go into the website, that is this one, I am going to have this demo vendors Power BI report already published and it's available for me. And take a look, that is actually already, or it gives me the possibility to navigate exactly to the same pages that I created on my desktop, but now we are here directly in a web browser. Why this is so important? Because even in the URL, I am able to get this kind of information on this kind of codes that are required later when we want to set up that connection between our project in Bizagi with the Power BI reports that we want to set up. So this is the first step. Go, be creative, create any dashboard that you want, combine the data in any way that is possible. Think always in the personas that will be working in your application and which is the valuable information that they need. What are the values that are important for them to see? How they can actually take better decisions based on the reports that you are going to show them, right? And that it will give you the idea of which type of reports you should create at that moment, okay? Now, once that you got those projects published in your workspace and that project has already like these URLs from where you can access directly, then we can just move to the second main step, that is the configuration of the reports directly into the Bizagi Studio. Again, as I was telling you in our presentation, we have a split, let's say, that configuration into, let's say, in two main steps. The first one is here in Bizagi Studio, where we will establish the connection between my project, my Bizagi project, with my Power BI, let's say at the same time projects. They call it different, but let's say it's a big project here. So what we have done in this latest version is that actually through the expert view, that is a place where we handle all the connections and all the systems, in the external system, we have added one new section called data visualization. As I was telling you, in this first version of Bizagi Apps, we have a native integration right now with Power BI. With upcoming versions, we will be adding more of these business intelligence tools, but this is the place where we have added here. So if we want to establish this data visualization control, this is the place where you have to set up your connections. And here is what I tell you, that you will need to understand a little bit of the concept of how to actually reach those reports that are being in your Power BI account. You will need to add just attain an ID. You will need to actually get, this is a classic and typical OAuth authentication through a client ID and to a client secret. And that will establish a connection between your Bizagi project and the project that you got in Power BI. Once that connection is established, then you can start adding as many reports as you want. And that's one of the great advantages of this one. You can connect your project with multiple reports if you want. Not only one, as many as you want, because then we will be able to set up and customize exactly which personas are able to access which reports. Every single report that you set up, we will be using for this example, this vendor category 1, is going to be able, or is going to allow me to just set up the configurations in this way. So we are able to set up a workspace ID where I have the report available and where is the ID of the report. And one amazing thing that we have been added into this configuration and into the option of embed these reports within our Bizagi Apps is the capability to filter those reports based on data that we can send directly through the application that we are working in Bizagi Apps. I'm going to give you one quick example, step by step, for you to understand. Within the reports that we have been added here, there is one report here called performance, right? If you see, this is a simple report that allows me to see which is the score organized by vendors and at the same time by quarters. So I want to know how every single vendor is doing in their score in the different quarters that we got. But if you see, this is a general report that shows me information from all the vendors. In the configuration of this report, when we have added here in the steps of the configuration, we have something in the x-axis that actually say that we have something that is the vendor name. So it means that even though if you have select your corresponding report in this way, you will be able later to filter this report by only one of those elements. Take a look at one of the great advantages that if actually I just select this one, buckle guy or quarter leader company, I am automatically filtering that report by that vendor. That's something that we can do without the end user has to do anything at all. It's just with the context or with the place where we are seeing these reports for the end user, right? So what we have here is adding an option in the configuration if we want to allow Bizagi to set filters for that report when we are doing the configuration. In this case, take a look that we say, yeah, we want to have a filter. It will be called a vendor name. It is going to affect the table performance and is going to be into one column that is the vendor name. And I'm going to show you later how all of this is going to work. So now my reports are ready. I establish a connection with Power BI, I add my report, and now I am able to just jump directly into the experience matrix. This is what I have been telling you, that is a place where we can see really easy how my application works. I am able to see the different personas that interacts in my application with the different business objects that they have access, right, into this particular point. And finally, we will be able in the intersection to see what they can do. So what the vendor management can do over the vendor, right? That's the way on how it works. But also within the experience matrix, we have this little checkbox that allow us to actually see the reports. And here is where we can even set up which reports are going to be visible by which users. So here I can say that in the vendor management, I am able to add or control the reports and select from all the reports that I have available, which are going to be the ones that we have in that. So we set up the connection with Power BI, we add our reports, and now we're adding those reports in the experience matrix for the different personas that we have. The last step to actually have our reports configured is to actually go directly into our app designer. That is going to be the place where we are going to be able to set up the configurations and the elements here. So to do that, we can go directly here into my app designer. Remember, this is the application where we customize our applications, where we give that personalization that we want. And what we have done in this app designer is that we have a new control that is called actually the embedded options. Within the embedded options, you have data visualization. And once that you just add one of these controls, take a look at the configuration that you will be able to do is quite easy because you already set up the connection between your Bizagi with your Power BI environments. So the only thing that you will have to do is set up simple things. Do you want to give it a title? Yes or no? Which is the report that you want to display? So I am going to be using this connection that I have established with this specific report that I want, and then take a look that even you can decide which is the page that you want to display. So establish a connection with this report and show me here what is specifically the page that we want to see. So if we leave this one in an easy way, I'm going to just delete this one just for you to see how this looks like in running environments. This is what we will be able to see directly when we enter with one of those users. So here, I'm going to have one user called Peter Smith. This is actually one of my vendor management, and once that I enter with that user, I am going to be able to just go directly and enter and see all the information that we got. So I have multiple pages to view what is the information that is relevant for them. We understand in the application what is the information that is valuable, what we should display, and not only what we should display, but which are the actions that this user can take based on the corresponding configuration of the data that they have. So we have onboarding requests, which are the actions that we have. I am able to actually take the details. I want to see what is happening with the vendors. So when I go into the vendors, take a look that I have actions that allow me to start new vendor onboardings or do assessments or actually request some update from the vendors. I am able to see additional details from every single vendor and take actions over there. Do we want to actually inactive that vendor? Do we want to send or do a vendor update? Do we want to send a communication? How all of them are doing in terms of the execution. And here I am doing the vendors by category. But what happened? The applications, when we are working in every single application, there is a concept that is called, let's say, the context. That at the end is based on the page that you are, the context refers to the information that you are seeing. In my example, when I am in this vendor page, the context of the vendor page is all the vendors that this vendor management has access. That is governance in place. But if I decide to just jump into one specific vendor, I am switching the context. I am not talking anymore about all the vendors. I am talking about just one vendor. So if I just go on up in this Horwin Leader company, I enter into this one, and now I am in the context of just that vendor. That's why we have now a new page called Vendor Details, and that's why I'm seeing only the information of that specific vendor that I am working. So when we have this kind of configuration in my application, here is another amazing stuff about how we can combine apps with those business intelligence capabilities that we saw. And it is, I can pass information from the application to the business intelligence tools so I can see the reports that are only or that matters just to me. So what it happens, take a look that here we have a simple, let's say, report that show me all the vendors by category and some reports by country. What it will happen if we change them, right? What if I go directly into the app designer and I say that in the vendor detail page, that is the one that we are seeing here, I want to see something different. What? I want to add a new report. I am going just to put it here on the top really quickly. I am going to say that the report that I want to see here is the one about this one, the performance, right? So I go here and say here, important details in this configuration. Take a look that it tells me that I am in a detailed page and that the context where I am is actually one vendor. So when I do the configuration of my report, I do the basic steps of the configuration as I want to use this connection to Power BI, and I want to use or show the vendor category report, and I want to see just the performance page, right? It's the only one that I want. I don't want to see the filters. I don't want to have this. But I show you that in the configuration in Bizagi Studio, when we were doing the configuration of that report, we actually had available one option that was the one that allowed me to define if I want to see filters or not. And we enable that filter that is based on the vendor name. So because of that, because we enable that option, take a look that here in the configuration of the report, we're going to have actually that option too. So we say, I want to have a vendor name filter. This is going to be configured saying that I want that the report is being filtered by or when the vendor name is. And this is something amazing for us. We have simplified the way on how we can access the data here in the reports. As we are in the context of one single vendor, I am going to be able to see here the information of that entity. So I go and see all the attributes and say, hey, I want to filter that report based on the name of the vendor. And in this way, the report is going to be automatically filtered without doing anything from the end user, just moving from one context to the other one. We can apply and close this. If we want to see maybe this one in option, we can just go and publish the application again, just update the application one more time. And then one that the change is in place and that we're able to access the information in that part, we will be able to access with our same user. Let's suppose here it was Peter Smith. I'm going to just refresh the whole page, and then we will be able to actually see how that report is going to be filtered based on the context that we want. So this is powerful because you don't have to create reports for every single vendor. You just can create a general one that allows you to just go and see, right, how is the behavior of all the vendors at the same time. And then using this capability that you got here in Bizagi, you are able to go directly and filter the reports using the context and the information where you are located in every single page. So this gives you a lot of flexibility. It simplifies a lot the way on how your business intelligence will be added to your apps. And at the same time, it guarantees that you see the information that is really valuable for you. So once that we enter into one particular vendor and with the information that we are going to get it here, we will see specifically what we got. Take a look that now we are seeing the score, right, by quarter, but I am only seeing the information of one vendor that is actually the one where we're located here, okay? So this is the way on how business intelligence and Bizagi Apps works together. And with this, we basically get into the end of our session of today's process, Professor.